Great to have you with us. Now, the Commission of Inquiry into the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election violence today moved proceedings to the scene of the violence in what it says is a move to better appreciate testimonies given before it so far. Justice Emil Short, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, and former IGP Patrick Echampong were joined by Executive Secretary Ernest Kofi Abochi, a ballistics analyst and a crime scene investigator. The team was conducted round the crime scene by the investigator Sule Jallo, who pointed out marks from bullets on trees, containers, and a stationary vehicle. Listen to him.
So on the ground like this, I was just looking through. I don't know whether that was a bullet, but this one, this young man showed to me.
Now, if somebody aimed a warning shot, could it hit?
Or if it is a kind of spare firing discriminately.
No, I'm asking warning shot.
Warning shots. It's possible.
Well, at this height.
No, maybe firing on the air, that is a different thing. But I don't know which direction they stood and they fired and they hit this tree.
Right. Warning shot is fired
in the air.
You're not supposed to aim. By the time it drops, the
then it's cool.
The force would have been spent.
Yes, sir.
So it cannot create a hole.
That is why I'm saying I don't know whether they stood somewhere behind it and fired or whatever. But the boy, so after showing me this, I didn't see. I just saw a mark. Yeah. Then it wasn't proper evidence to show that indeed somebody fired the tree. Yeah. So I was trying to look around around this under the tree to see whether maybe there may be a shell, an empty shell lying. Then probably we may say indeed somebody fired against the tree.
Okay. And when you got here, they had collected the shells.
That's what I picked up something.
You said a piece of iron?
Yes, which I took.
Could it be part of a bullet?
Yes, I believe so, with the experts.
So then, looking at it, can you say for certain that it was caused by a bullet?
For that, I'm not certain, indeed, because looking at the hole and then the piece of iron that I picked, if it is that one, then it would have at least penetrated a bit. But this one, it fell around here and I picked it. So I don't know how.
Couldn't it have been a ricochet instead of a directed?
Yes, it could be.
Because the depth of the hole, that could be a ricochet, right?
Yes, it could be. So
now, the ballistic analyst confirmed bullet marks found could have been warning shots, as indicated by the crime scene investigator.
Does it look like this could have been warning shots?
For the angle, I don't know for warning shot, but mostly once it's targeted at this one, for warning shot, I think mostly it should be up. So once it's targeted at an object below the height of maybe a normal human being, then I don't see it as a warning shot.
And therefore, you conclude that they were potentially aimed?
They were
even not aimed at a tree, but aimed.
I may say so.
You say so?
What would be the basis for that?
I don't know. The gun was coming from this direction. The shots were coming from the left to my right. So as it was going, it could hit any other thing or any object.
Can you tell the caliber of weapon, potentially pistol, AK-47? I mean, can you just tell from the wound whether it's...
This wound, we measure about this one. This one is more like a tear or a cut. And we cannot tell you exactly the caliber of bullet that created this mark. But it's, what I can say in general is it's created by high velocity bullet.
Now, at the end of the tour, Executive Secretary to the Commission, Ernest Kofi Abochi, briefed the media, indicating Inspector General of Police David Asantia-Pietu will appear before the Commission next week.
The purpose of today's inspection was to give the Commission an opportunity to gather at first hand information that has been related to the Commission in situ. Therefore, the essence of the exercise was basically to just have a local inspection, to see things for ourselves. I think the Commission has seen things that 1,000 words can't relay, the Commission has had a first-hand opportunity to inspect bullet holes, to inspect angles of penetration, to speak to people on the ground, to inspect potential dangers that could have been occasioned if it wasn't for the intervention of God. And so by reason of this, the Commission has had an opportunity to inspect for itself the things that it's heard. And therefore now we can relate to the things that we heard in sit-ins, to the things that we've inspected in practice, and be able to come out with, if you like, the Commission will be able to come out with the outcome that best supports the fact. Because ultimately this is a fact-finding mission, and you can't conduct a fact-finding mission without actually visiting the locals. So today's work is a concretization of the past hearings which have been off-site.
What happens after hearings?
The Commission continues sitting on Monday. The Commission hopes to meet the deadline that has been set by the President. Inspector General of Police is going to testify next week, and Kodeo and CDD may testify next week, among other people. But these are the two that I remember. But as I indicated to you, we will call all witnesses who are relevant. Because even though we are trying to work against speed and time, it is also important that the conclusions are thorough and complete, so that whatever recommendations are made are useful and effective.
Now, in a related story, the opposition National Democratic Congress has responded to President Akufo-Addo's call for a meeting to determine how to disband party militias, which in the past few weeks have dominated the headlines for all the wrong reasons. You will recall the president in his State of the Nation address called on the two main parties to come together and chart a way forward. Well, since the NPP has failed in sending the letter of invitation as proposed by the president, the national chairman of the NDC has written to the president seeking some clarification on aspects of his call. Here are excerpts of the letter captured in a news desk report.
The NDC's letter to President Akufo-Addo was a major pleasant surprise, coming at a time when the NDC leaked audio threatened to further divide the two main political parties. In the letter, signed by National Chairman Samuel Ofusu-Ampofo and directly addressed to the President, the NDC says, quote, "We will avail ourselves of the opportunity whenever at the pleasure of Your Excellency and at a venue convenient for the purpose," unquote. The President had requested a meeting only between the two main parties, but the NDC is proposing an expansion. They want the discussions to include all political parties, civil society organizations, representatives of the media, the military, police and other security agencies, as well as any other relevant stakeholders. They suggest the National Peace Council be appointed as a mediator for such a meeting. This is a crucial proposal, especially considering the content of the leaked recording in which a voice alleged to be that of the NDC chairman is heard endorsing verbal attacks at the chairman of the Peace Council. The NDC further proposes the inclusion of bodies like the United Nations Development Programme UNDP to assist the Peace Council. They, however, ask the government to take immediate steps to disband and disarm the illegal armed force being maintained by the National Security Council. They also want the government to abandon its plans and rather instruct its agents in the regions to stop the state-sanctioned recruitment of political party thugs for the purpose of the 2020 general elections. The ball is now firmly in the court of the president and his party, the NPP. The president and the NPP's next move will be closely watched, especially by us here at Joy News, as part of our campaign to disband party militias now.
Remember the hashtag disband party militias now. That's our campaign against political violence. Join our campaign on air and online to put pressure on political leaders to do what the citizens demand. Hashtag disband party militias now. We stay with the National Democratic Congress because the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, says he will meet his defeated contenders in the just-ended presidential primaries individually to discuss ways they can contribute to wresting power from the NPP in the 2020 elections. Now, at a meeting with the national executives of the party Thursday afternoon, the former president commended his contenders for the healthy competition.
I want to thank my fellow aspirants for a good fight. I believe that competition is important. And I guess that what we just went through in the presidential primaries has brought out the best in our party. Our base has been energized. You find that a lot of the apathy that existed in the branches appears to have been shrugged off. And that is because of the very competitive nature of the process we went through. And so I want to thank all of you for the good fights and a very successful presidential primary. I believe that one of our Achilles' heels going into 2016 was a certain lack of unity in, smoothing over any issues and differences and moving together as one into the battle of 2020 enhances our opportunities and chances of clinching the victory for our great party. And so I want us to continue to work together. Over the next couple of days, I'm sure that there will be various events that are post-primary, including probably a certain formal induction of the flag bearer into office as the leader of the party, and then other events that all of us will have the opportunity to participate in. And I believe that that kind of participation will send a signal to our supporters that the primaries are over, the contest is over, and that we've come back together as one body to fight our common political opponents in the battle of 2020. And so let me thank you once again for this opportunity. I'm sure that in the next few weeks I'll have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with my fellow aspirants. I'll create the opportunity for us to meet together so that we can share ideas about how we can collaborate and work towards 2020, the 2020 elections.
We take you back to the NDC later in the bulletin, but let's now speak to Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, the National Chairman of the Peace Council. He joins us on the phone. Most Reverend, thank you for joining us this afternoon. The NDC has proposed that you chair the meetings that have been called for by the President between the NPP and the NDC on disbanding party militia groups. What do you say to this?
No, I think it's a step in the right direction. I must tell you that about 3 or 4 days ago, the board of the National Peace Council met, and one of our concerns was that we will be willing and will be happy to facilitate a discussion, a dialogue between the two parties in view of the vigilantism that the President raised in his address on the state of the nation. So for us, we will be willing, we will be prepared, so long as the parties concerned are also happy with it. We will be very, very, very willing to do so. After all, that's what we are set up to do, to facilitate dialogue that will ensure peace in our country.
Now, Most Reverend, it has been proposed by some that a simple meeting between the two parties will be too simplistic. What's your reaction to this?
I also want to believe that. I think we need to broaden it. I want to believe that the vigilantism, or whatever you may want to call it, political thuggery, is a very big, big, big issue. I'm already on record to have said that, the dialogue between the parties is a first step in the right direction to ensure peaceful elections, especially when we look at 2020. So it's a step in the right direction. But having done that, we must also look at the broader issues connected with the entire thing. I'm sure that the commission that has been instituted by the President to provide a way forward will be comprehensive to address some of these issues. Part of it is that why did people go for vigilantists or these political attacks to protect them? Lack of trust in the security services. Why lack of trust? Because people think that if a government is in power, then they are in bed with the government. Perhaps what we need to do is try to look at security of tenure for our police officers. A lot of people have talked about this, and that should be on board for broader discussion on the whole issue. Then, of course, what are you going to do with these people who have been trained and some of whom I believe might have been exposed to state security and other things? How are we going to now say to them, go out there, we're not going to, we're not going to entertain you. They are working for their living. So I think what we need to do, some people have suggested that, give them training and incorporate them into the security services. I have my own personal, not the Peace Council's position. My own personal position is that a thing like that will politicize our security services, and we have to be very careful about that. But having said that, so what do we do with them? I think it is important for us to think about what we're going to do with the majority of these people. During Kwame Nkrumah's time, we also had political, if you want to call them vigilantes, we call the action troopers and others. But what Nkrumah did was that at that time, the Builders Brigade was established, Workers Brigade.
Right.
And a good number of these people were engaged in gainful employment, state farms, so that they didn't have to go back to the public to cause problems.
Right.
So now, I think we need to look at all that. So it is a short to medium and long term things that we should be looking at if we are going to be able to address this issue well.
Now, as you indicated, Reverend, the work of the Ayawaso West Wogon Commission of Inquiry is very key to finding a lasting solution to this. Would you suggest that this meeting between the MPP and NDC is held after the Commission of Inquiry finishes its work, or that can happen at any time?
I don't know what the position is, but I think in respect of what is between the two, I think the earlier the better. You strike the iron while it is hot. Everybody is talking about it. So in my view, it will be good for the political parties to meet on this issue, and then wait for the comprehensive roadmap that will be given by the Shorts Commission. And then, on the basis of that, we may have to. It shouldn't be, just a day's wonder. This is something that, after we have even dealt with it and we have received the reports, we should continue to engage stakeholders on the matter. Yeah.
Now, Reverend, I was asking this to put it in context because, as you heard the president say, he said that this meeting should be called by his party, preferably this week, speaking last week. Now, the NDC has responded by saying that, well, they want clarity to know if this meeting should be held within the period the commission is working or it should be after, which is why I asked the question. But, Reverend, speaking finally, would you, again, another suggestion that has been made by the former president is that civil society groups and other stakeholders are involved in this meeting. What would you say to this suggestion?
No, I definitely. I mean, this is a matter that involves the entire Ghanaian community, and other political parties are also involved. You remember at some point, one of the political party leaders, sometime last year or 2016 thereabout, was also talking, should we also start our own vigilante group? So I think we need to look at it holistically. Stakeholders should not be limited just to the parties, the two parties, but we should broaden the base so that, we deal with it once and for all.
Thank you very much, Most Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, for joining us. He is the chairman of the National Peace Council. Now, back to that story on the NDC and especially what it's doing after the presidential primaries. A key contender in that presidential primary race, Professor Joshua Alabi, has pledged his support to enable the party secure victory in the next election.
I must say that personally I'm very happy with this meeting, and I must commend the General Secretary and the Chairman for the first move coming to us to talk to us. I must say competition is healthy. Competition brings out the best in any organization, and we've gone through that. What we have done, we have elected a leader, but the whole thing is not about the leader. It's about the leadership. And leadership is the leader and the people coming together to work together to achieve the desired objective. In this case, our objective is 2020. And I strongly believe that with what we just started, we are getting ready, and very soon we shall be ready to move out there, to start to work, and make sure that we wrest power from the MPP. I'm very confident 2020 is for us. But then we have a lot of work to do. And I'm convinced with the enthusiasm, the way we all comported ourselves in the just ended primaries, and the fact that through the process, collectively, we've trained a lot of the youth who now understand and appreciate the magnitude of political campaign. All this will be at the disposal of the party in our next move.
Now, party chairman Samuel Owusu Ampofo commended Mr. Mahama and the defeated candidates for the maturity shown in Saturday's contest. He urged them to consolidate the rich experience and skill they all possess to bring the NDC back to power.
Your show of solidarity and maturity after the results were announced, because we followed all of you, your congratulatory messages and assurances that you gave, which has demonstrated that the NDC is one united big family. Today we are here at the party head office with our flag bearer and for the party to show appreciation and to say that the team for our National Congress, which was held, which elected us into office, was together we win 2020. And I added a caveat during my acceptance speech as chairman that we are leaving no one behind. We believe that you are major stakeholders of the party. Your contribution to our forward march will be very critical because you bring diverse experience and input into the work of the party.
Now, Mr. Owusu Ampofo, whom you just heard, is expected to appear at the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service to answer some questions related to the content of a leaked tape, alleged leaked tape, I should say. Now, the recording alleged to be his voice contains what the police say are threats to the security of the nation and some individuals. Though the NDC in a statement has described the tape as doctored, lawyer Abraham Amalba tells Joy News the NDC chair will assist the police in their investigations.
We came to confirm about the letter that is making the social media and traditional media. This letter is indicating that our chairman has been invited by the police. In the meantime, he has not received any invitation from the police.
He hasn't received the letter?
No.
The police said that they invited him yesterday?
As at yesterday, Owusu Ampofo did not receive any letter. As at this morning, he didn't receive any letter. It was only when we got here that we were told that the letter has been deposited in our office. And that was around 12:15. Well, when we got here, the deputy director of CID indicated that they sent somebody to the party headquarters. And when I called our administrator, he confirmed that, yes, they now have it. So, as at yesterday and today, this morning, Owusu Ampofo had not received any letter.
So now that you've confirmed that he has received the letter, is your client going to honor the invitation?
He would. He's not going to run away. He is a responsible citizen, and we are going back as a legal team to strategize. He's definitely going to respond to the police invitation.
Is he going to come or respond?
He will come. They want him personally, so he will come.
So when is he coming?
That we don't know yet, because we are yet to meet our legal team and strategize and then indicate when he will come.
Still live on Joy News today, let's move away from the politics. And the Pandai District Assembly says it queried the school feeding program caterer contracted to provide food for the Loloto Presbyterian School after it emerged she's for weeks not cooked for the pupils. A Joy News visit revealed the school kitchen has been taken over by goats.
Past 12 in the afternoon, just about the time pupils of the Loloto Primary School should be fed. But today, the story is different. Children who came to school on empty stomachs with the hope of being fed are worried. The school kitchen, sited behind the school block, where food for the 200 pupils was prepared, is dry today. No ingredients, no cooks, and has now been taken over by goats. Students of Loloto haven't been fed under the school feeding program for the past 2 weeks. Here's Assistant Head Teacher Lucas Tatul in Tapuan.
See, this is our kitchen where the school feeding program is ongoing. But our caterer, as it is now, there is no food to be cooked. She hardly brings food for us. And even if the food comes, all the ingredients that are supposed to be attached to the food for the feeding to be made are not available. So because of that, we find it very, very difficult to cook. And we don't know what is happening. The whole of last time, just like 15 days. Last time we had about 71 days in school. She cooked almost just 15 days. Yeah, she hails from Salaga, that's where she's coming from. So anytime I thought the market vehicles are coming, she gives the food to the vehicles and then they'll come and then offload the food for us.
When was the last time you actually saw her here?
I have never seen her here before. She has never come here. She only sent the food to the vehicles and then the vehicles will bring the food for us. I have never seen her here.
Nanja Jagri and Likpa Charity are both Class 6 pupils here. They are concerned about the lack of food at their school. Going back home to eat during school hours is the only option they have.
Only 2 weeks. And they cooked for us.
And last time, what happened?
Last time, there were no cook. There were no food.
They didn't bring food at all?
They didn't bring food.
So what do you do if there are no food?
If there are no food, we will go to break and come.
When we are coming to school, they are not cooked. When they are not cooked, some people come from Krupi and Tamabra and come one day no cook. They can't go to Blake. They can't get the food. So that when you come back to school, we hunger.
District Education Director of Pandai, Fosinanayan Donko, says the problem is widespread in the district.
Most often when we go out, we find out that some of them do not cook because the caterers are not coming from the district. They are coming outside the district. And so when food stuff is short, they are not aware. Some children go to school without eating. They leave their homes to the school without eating. And it is when they get to the school that they take their lunch and continue classes. So when they know that cooking is not going to be done today, they don't come to school.
The Education Directorate in the northern region wants the government to reverse the situation and save the program from a total collapse. They are worried the school feeding program is gradually turning into a school starving reality, a situation affecting school enrollment and attendance in the deprived communities. Henry Kwesi Bediu's report for Joy News.
Still on this story, the caterer Asana Hassan tells Joy News she was unable to cook because she was unwell. Asana, however, reiterates the fact that she always receives her payments due.
I was pregnant, so I can't be riding. I used to ride from Salaga to Fonda, even monitoring. So somewhere last year, they did operation on me. So since the whole of last year, I didn't travel and go anywhere because of the operation. So this year too, I'm pregnant. Me thinking that the headmaster will help me to do the work. But this first term too, they opened on Tuesday. So he called me and I told him that my things is coming from Yeji. So unless Yeji market, the woman will put my things inside the car. When the first week that they did the open school, I didn't send it. I sent it the next week.
But are you not supposed to be cooking every day for them?
They cook.
Are you sure they cook every day?
And hey, that is what I didn't know because I was thinking that the headmaster would be, because he was telling me they cook every day. I mean, because of my pregnancy, I can't be going there. I can't be going there. Sending things there. So this year too, I was pregnant again. And I was always visiting hospital. Even as I'm talking to you, I'm in Tamale. I come to visit hospital.
So, do you receive your monies or your pay?
This time, yes. I received it and went and paid them. And there was a problem that I wanted to tell you. I know that I didn't do well for that. You called me this week that my honor is finished. and the tea tomatoes. Then I told him that whether the tea tomatoes won't reach up anywhere, but because they didn't pay. So since they pay, I will buy the tea tomatoes and everything and bring it. I was even wanted to send it myself, but when my time for visiting hospital reached.
But District Chief Executive Officer for Pandai, Ata Emmanuel Kofi Tatablata, says the Assembly has queried the caterer.
Also asked her that the information reaching us shows that she doesn't cook and what is the problem. By the time you call to ask her, she always wants to complain that she has not been well. We have even given her some 2 warning letters to try and feed because since she has agreed she has been paid anytime there's payment, I don't understand why she will not be cooking because it doesn't need her to be present before the foodstuffs are given to the school. You can arrange and the foodstuffs will be taken to the school. So for her to say that she's not well, it's not a good excuse.
The head teacher for Loloto Presbyterian School, Tinab Isaac, joins us on the line. Mr. Tinab, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for calling, please.
So after we spoke with Madam Al-Hassan, the caterer, she says that she has resumed cooking. Is this the case?
Please, actually, when it comes to school feeding program, as far as my school, and for that matter, that lady is concerned, I mean the caterer, Al-Hassan Asana, actually, it has not been supplying the food as it's supposed to be. So with the reason that, or that excuse that she was pregnant and whatever, I don't think her presence, if her absence is not recognized, we should stop cooking. Sometimes they have to supply food to the cooks to cook. Sometimes you do give the food items, the only message is, after you ask her whether she knows where she's even supplying food to. That's you know the children.
Now, Mr. Isaac, are you receiving the food now?
Please, this time we received once. That was 3rd week of this term.
This term you have received once only in the 3rd week.
Yeah,
so our viewers can have some context. Which week are we in now?
We are in 7th week, and as I speak now, the number of days we cook for this term is 10 days, including today. And today's cooking is happening because of what is happening on the social media.
So you've received food today. Did you receive food yesterday?
It was yesterday that those ingredients that I finished, and I called her several times. She keep rejecting my call. That was supplied by her brothers yesterday in the evening.
Right. Thank you very much. Now, a query has been sent to Madam Al-Hassan by the DCE on this matter. Are you satisfied with this move?
Well, this very one, I want her to reposition and research herself to improve on how to supply food to us. So as to whoever authority is concerned, and give her advice at least to wake up. We just want her to change positively.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tinab Isaac, for joining us. We'll be monitoring the situation with you as the days progress. That was the head teacher for the Loloto Presbyterian School. Now, before we go, it's been 197 days since Prisla Blessing Bentum, the first of the 3 females believed to have been kidnapped in Takrade, disappeared. The other 2, Ruth Love Kwesen, have been gone for 88 days, whilst Prisoner Mantibia Kranchi has been missing for 71 days. Joy News has waged a campaign to help find the girls. Together with families, we demand swift and consistent action from state security agencies. Hashtag bring back our tardy girls. Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. Now, coming up in business, Public Distribution Services finally takes over management of ECG. Daryl Kwao has more.